Gonna be live in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. I think yeah. Hey guys, we got the amazing Indigo Angel with us. We're gonna get started here in a second. I'm gonna play the intro and get ready because this is gonna be an amazing episode. And just remember, guys, to subscribe to. I put up the subscribe button. I put this up every time because, like, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Rumble, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And then also like the video, like it on Rumble as well. And with all that said, I'm really excited about my guest today. She's a regular on my show. I have with me the amazing Indigo Angel of IndigoAngel222.com and the YouTube channel Indigo Angel. She's a multidimensional researcher and spiritual messenger. As a midway portal receiver, transmitter of advanced galactic light frequencies, Indigo connects humanity to higher dimensions of wisdom. She specializes in uncovering galactic accords, disclosure, and starseed activations, revealing how cosmic governance affects Earth's future. What to expect from this episode: the mystery of the Mintaka Seals, secrets of the Venus Mintaka Accord, Guardian contact and their messages for humanity, and updates on the Draco, Orion Disclosure, and cosmic politics. And and I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Indy, thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and have this discussion with you and everyone watching today.
Yeah. So
how are you, Rob? How are you?
I'm good. I mean, I've getting better, but I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I've been I'm going through it. You know what I mean? Like I've been feeling down lately because I feel like I put in so much work and like, you know what I mean? Like I don't see a lot in return, and they're demonetizing me and kicking me off everywhere. So I'm like, that there have been points where I've been like, I've been like, I don't know, I'm not going to give up, but I just, it's tough right now.
I think the message recently for a lot of us has been, I think a lot of doors are closing in certain places. Like we are getting a lot of doors, that are closing. And I think we're getting redirected back to focus on bigger projects, that need to be done. And we're getting redirected for a reason. And I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's so we can like inner cultivate ourselves in much bigger ways and come forward in much bigger ways. Because I really do believe that your work and my work also is very important and very fundamental for where we're going to be going. I see us actually moving beyond and actually collapsing down some of these artificial systems that exist in our community. And I think that some of these doors closing is just preparing us for when we're going to be actually kind of brought up to these higher levels to actually serve in much bigger roles when the time is right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So before we get into all the Mintaka stuff and the like, can you tell people, like, or as much as you want to share, as much as you feel comfortable sharing about like your poll and the contact you've been having? Like, I think that was amazing.
Yeah, I have been putting a lot of new interesting information out on my channel. If people who watch your channel also watch my channel, they'll probably notice in comparison to the old content that I used to put out that there's been a lot of shifts and changes in me personally, and the messages that I've been delivering, that they've been highly upgraded. And I've been bringing forth information that I know for a fact has not been brought forward on this earth, period, across the board. Like, I've been bringing forward new channeled information and new directives and new accords that have been streamlined directly from the Guardian Alliance. And that is because I've been having some pretty intense contact experiences that ultimately, the first one that was very official came through on July 22nd, 2025. And that's when I received like a very clear and definitive transmission that came through from the Mintaka system when I had when I was visited by, well, I don't even want to use the word visited. Essentially, what happened was I was writing my book. So, some of you may know that I'm currently writing a book called Grid Work and New Earth Prophecy. And since I've started writing this book, this is when the contact actually started. And I started receiving like multiple high level experiences, some of it contact, but also some of it in states of like transdimensional meditation, where I had interactions with the Guardian Alliance, with the Venusian host councils, and the representatives from the Mintaka Command. And I think it's just like the perfect storm and the perfect divine alignment in some ways, because I've been working within my water garden, putting this is my pool, charging it with very large pieces of crystal like Lemurian quartz and multiple pieces of this, and the heat and the sun. And I'm also where I live, also in Pensacola. I'm down in a corridor of the blue diamond architecture. This is where all the blue diamond geometries and um, air, solar, wind, water passageways essentially run through the land and through the corridors of the organic template. In addition to that, there's also a massive amount of secret space programs that I'm being exposed to living down here, and aerial craft that has been essentially opening up sound fields into otherworldly passageways. So I've been having a lot happen, and also my health is like really crazy right now, and I think because of that, my body's been breaking down in some ways, and I've been going through these really just rigorous, intense experiences, and it's allowed me to access information that I haven't accessed before prior to writing this book. So it's been really transformational. I feel like I have no other choice other than to surrender to it. A lot of the things that are coming forward are, it's beyond me. It's stuff that I'm just being used as a transmitter of the information. I don't even feel like sometimes I'm even an author to my book. I feel like things are coming through that are so big. According to the next uh, timeline activations that we're receiving on this planet, because 2025 through 2028, we're going through a massive Stargate matrix recalibration, and um, things that were once really truly unseen and unheard of and kept in the dark, according to the ascension timelines, are now coming to the forward, and it's going to be a big quantum jump that we're going through over the next 36 moons. Essentially, we're going through a major recalibration cycle that's coming through the planet that was handed to me in what is called a Venus Mintakan accord, essentially, that has a list of all the directives of what's going to happen over the next 36 moons. Also, according to the ascension cycles, going out to 2044, and then ultimately what's happening in the greater prophecy of the New Earth timelines going to 12,000 CE. So I'm just getting like all these drops, and I feel like the contact experiences are just highlighting the information. It's very a real experience for me, and it's a little hard to explain how it's happening. Essentially, the way the records are being received is like I'm going into these trance states, and what I'm being told is called an echo chamber of resonance. And so it's these higher dimensional techniques of light and sound, wave translations that are coming in. And essentially, it's suspending my egoic consciousness. And I'm entering into a harmonic chamber that feels kind of like you're floating weightless at the threshold of the multiverse, and there's no time. And I'm just receiving entire historical transmissions that are timeless, etheric immersions that are coming through my body. And it's coming through codes, it's coming through voltage, it's coming through geometry, it's coming through emotional intelligence, it's coming through harmonic alignment. And I get all the information and all of the downloads, and then essentially I'm being guided through my contact with the Guardian Alliance how to put things into written format, how to structure the transmissions, how to lay out the encryption so that way everything lines up to the timing markers of the transmissions. And then they're also giving me encoded record seals as well. So everything is like fully official. And then once I get these downloads, it's being recorded in, they call it the Sonic Aeonic Record Hall, which I feel is one and the same as the Vault of Orion, which is going to come through these Orion Draco disclosures that I'm going to talk about today with you guys. And it's all getting basically scribed into the Celestial Hall of Records. So yeah, it's been crazy. I can even feel my sacral chakra right now is acting just like it's vibrating just even saying this right now. Yeah, it's been a wild summer to say the least. July 22nd, 2025 and the 8-8 Lionsgate have been very, very significant this year in particular. I think for Orion and Hydra and Draco disclosure and information that's very imperative for us to be able to correct the Stargate Matrix over the next 3 years on the planet.
Yeah. Did you feel a lot of energy from the Lionsgate? Did you have a good Lionsgate or bad Lionsgate?
I was in full Guardian mission mode. I had to do a mission at the Temple Mount. We had to do like a big Stargate correction there because basically what's happened is there's been Stargate displacement. And the whole ascension timelines at the Temple Mount have essentially been, this has to do with the Draco invasion and the first galactic fall, where they basically displaced that gate and they hijacked the lower 3 gate systems of the planetary Northern Cross, essentially. And so I've been called in for a rehabilitation of that Stargate. And that's just basically what I've been doing. I've just been kind of working on rehabilitation missions. That's kind of like where they're placing me energetically. If you go to my channel, you can actually view and watch those corrections. They're very, very, very powerful and very significant. But yeah, my contact experience. So what happened was went into this transdimensional state and essentially taken through architectural Orion fields. Basically, it's working really deep within the Orion field. This is really kind of the training ground. This is where the Guardian Alliance essentially resides, is in the Orion system. This is where headquarters is in Mintaka. And basically a being came forward. The being's encryption was zero primus, essentially, and came forward saying, like, I have a message of great importance to you. And then pulled me into a Star Ray Sapphire starship, basically. And then once I was taken onto the starship, I was kind of sat at this white stone table. And the white stone table itself was basically, it was a sentient object. And all the official transmissions started coming through the table. And then they kind of showed me how there's many, many different beings within the Guardian Alliance. Some of them are planetary based, some of them are galactic based. These are all things I've known for some time because I've been interfacing with many of celestial systems that are part of the Guardian Alliance all of this time, literally going back 10 years ago. I have records and accounts of this. Making contact, but essentially they showed me how that, like, there's beings that they do bring in that will serve as intermediaries between the galactic alliances and the planetary Guardian Alliances, essentially. And that's kind of my role right now within all of this and why I'm being given all of this information.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
What are they trying to show you? What are they trying to show you? Because, like Ryushin came on the other day, and he seems to think that there could be I guess what I'm trying to say is we're getting information from different places, and I think that's a good thing, But like for example, Ryushin thinks there could be an alien attack on what day is it? The Blood Harvest Moon, which is September 7th. So but you're getting more of a positive message. It seems like you're getting a message of more like that the benevolence is happening and like we're evolving. Is that right?
Right. So what I'm getting is well, for one, we're going through a massive Orion and Draco disclosure timeline. So I think, if other people are getting things, I think that's absolutely correct. I think the veil is being pulled back in a lot of ways, that people are being allowed to really kind of see into things they've never been able to see before. Is everything okay? I just heard a really
Yeah,
loud noise.
something just fell.
Oh,
It was
okay.
the wind in my candle. It was the wind in my candle.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot of disclosure overall. I think certain, galactic factions on the Earth, like a lot of this is going to be dissolved in because the true Guardian records do have to come forward. The true reveal of what is actually occurring in the Orion system has to be revealed. Without this great reveal of the Orion system, we're never really going to truly understand the quantum depth of how extensive the Draco invasion is on this planet. There's a lot of people going around right now saying the Dracos are not here on this planet. They no longer exist. The Greys are no longer here. All of these things. And these are all campaigns to basically, um, distract, smoke screens, people living within, certain reality bubbles that limit their ability to see beyond the great distortions and the mass deceptions that are currently happening within the Stargate hijacking on the planet, because that's ultimately what the war is about when it comes to the Draco system. And it goes back all the way to Earth's creation origins, when Earth actually separated from Venus from the Rigel system. And it was ultimately a war between the Hydra and the Draco system, where they tried to actually, and they did essentially enslave Earth as a breeder planet. That's basically what is at the core of everything when it comes to all of the great galactic falls, the Lyran Holocaust, the Electric Wars, the Orion Wars. Everything has ultimately been about trying to preserve the Stargate matrices, even in those other systems. So we're getting disclosure coming forward because we have to know what's going on in Orion. A lot of the fear has to dissolve, and we're coming into this great timeline where a lot of grid workers and people who are serving the correction course of Earth have to step into those roles now and ultimately fulfill those roles, and no longer fear, what is being held in the Orion system, and kind of um, step out of the shadow mastery and start recorrecting the Stargate alliances on the planet and things like this. So what I received was an actual Mintaka Venusian Accord, and it was just it was basically like a rundown of what Earth is requiring right now in terms of intervention, because there has been non-human intelligence data basically that they've picked up on. And what that means is the Guardian Alliance is essentially monitoring the planet through Venusian satellites. There's essentially orbital crystalline satellites, and it's not like the artificial satellites or the SpaceX thing. Essentially, they've embedded crystalline satellites in the cloud layers of our planet that, they're tracking certain things. So there's 13 of them in total. They're tracking the gravitational Trojan shifts, the quantum waveforms, and they've been monitoring this from 2008 to 2023. And so when I tapped into this on a psychic level, I tapped into the Venusian dome, and this is where the records were held. And they said that 67% of the distortion index in Earth's natural morphogenetic field is essentially corrupted with non-human intelligence data. That means that's a breach. That's a breach of Draco AI hybrid intelligence. They're basically trying to turn Earth into Rigel, because the Rigelian system is where the apex of the AI Draco hive, like the whole cybernetic totalitarianism, where the whole outer covering of the Rigel system is essentially hijacked by non-organic intelligence. It's ran by beast machines, basically, that run the surface of that planet. Like 97% of that planet is non-organic. That is the actual mission of the Dracos and what they're doing here. The Dracos want to basically eradicate all original 12D angelic human DNA and turn us into what Rigel has got going on. So we do have basically intervention coming in to basically stop this from happening. And now is the time, because we've had multiple collapses of Stargate systems within this Earth. They said 5 out of the 12 inner Earth solar gate alignments have fully collapsed. Okay, and they've been intervening since the second one collapsed, basically. This Venusian Mintaka record actually goes back like 33 million years. So that was when, the original incursions of these gate systems started to collapse. But they basically said that the Stargate commands are overrun by synthetic AI override. There's been multiple accounts of unauthorized blood sacrifice rituals that anchor in false light timelines, and also monarch programs, which is what the religions are. This is what I'm being guided or told that they are. They're monarch programs, and the monarch programs are like greater collective control, MK Ultra programs of ideological control. And the major nodal sites of these are the Vatican, they are Dome Rock, they're Giza, they're Mecca, Kaaba, and Iran, basically. This is where all of the unauthorized blood sacrifice rituals are happening, and the false light is going on.
The Abrahamic religions, basically, right?
Yes, basically, yes, because those were invaded. Yeah. Also, they're saying that I got information that the water has been AI contaminated on this planet. Like 50% of the planetary water memory has been contaminated. And then also this emergence of what we're seeing from the Dracos, or what we see is happening with the Dracos, is they have astral farming centers. And we talked about this when I came on your show last time. We talked about how they're invading the dream space, intercepting dream fields. So they're using that as bioelectric fuel, basically, siphoning human emotional trauma. And this is how they power their hives.
Wow.
So basically what's happening is these accords are coming forward because humanity's natural evolution has been intercepted by interdimensional conquest operations, and they're coming in to try to bring forth this accord that is basically the force that will work against those forces. And there's a lot of things that they're doing with this. It's reinitiating of the gem body, so 12 strand recalibration +1. So we need full 13 dimensional DNA activations. It's no longer a 12 strand thing to recorrect or override the negative. We have to activate the 12 strand +1 resurrection sequencing. That's going to begin to run on the planet. Also, Stargate rehabilitation. This is what will be the next basically the next missions of the grid workers within the Guardian Alliance, is to go through the next 3 years of Stargate rehabilitation. And this is to transfer control out of the forced male reptilian predator hierarchies and transfer those controls into the Magdalene encoded command nodes and repair all of the Seraphim gates. Because what happened, and what the fall of man was ultimately about, was the collapse of the Seraphim womb gates. And this is why this is a Hydra Draco war, because this has always been about Earth being a breeder planet. At the core of the war, that's what this is about. It's domination through creation, right? And through hijacking stargates and procreation. Whoever controls those gate systems controls the planet, basically. So they're going to be trying to transfer command out of the control of the hierarchies of the reptilians. Also, resurrection of Venus temples on the planet. This is going to be coming forward. This is going to be correcting the inner Earth halls of Amenti and any authoritarian interference that is happening through the halls of Amenti. They have to correct the planetary emotional body, because this is basically out of alignment as well on a bigger scale. And this is why you see so much degradation of the sacral chakra and so much corrosion of transgenders and basically inverted polarity of genders and sexuality. So frequency.
Would that be like a Baphomet seal? Would that be like a Baphomet seal, something like that?
Well, it's basically inverted chakra systems. So a lot of the chakra systems have been uprooted and inverted. Baphomet seals, yes. Blockages of the third eye in original angelic human soul lines that are trying to rehabilitate, and also hedonistic implants. A lot of this is coming through hedonistic. Yeah, sexual misery implants, and basically the force breeder harnesses that both men and women also wear. Also, king of terrorism implants and things like this. King of tyranny, king of terrorism, whatever. Things that they, put on people's heads and stuff like this. There's all kinds of weaponry that's being used on people's biofields, basically. Um, and then also restoration of the Magdalene lineage as well. So this is all about womb gate reclamation, and that's going to be a part of this next 36 moon recycling, where the Earth's going to go through 4 different phases of first repairing the crystalline template alignments and also the Venusian Earth arkings, because this is what we have to know about Venus. Venus plays a huge role in this. Because Venus holds 72 of Earth's harmonics, basically to complete the 144D Earth. So how they collapsed and even hijacked the stargates in the first place is they severed the gates between Earth and Venus. And they did that through black goo, basically. And come to find out, black goo is actually a form of acid. So I was like, why the F am I seeing acid in the dream space? Like, why am I seeing acid attacks? Because they're using black goo. It's corrosive, and this is how they actually, destroy things. So yeah, they have to repair these things. The Earth has to certain alliances. The Guardian Alliance is going to come in to repair this. They're going to repair the womb gates, the water grids, the gem bodies, and just return sovereign stewardship back to humanity. And so, yeah, a lot's really, really going on at this time. We're going through a lot. That's basically what the also returning certain information to humanity that we need to continue, right? Because they can't drop all kinds of information on us at one time, because honestly, I feel like it has a lot to do with things coming in so far away. A lot of these systems are actually very far. A lot of this information is transmitted to the Earth through echo chamber, through light wave pulse integration. So we don't get their messages, literally. Like when they send messages from Orion, from the Guardian Alliance, it takes like light years to get to us. They come through like sonar pulses. So this is why it comes through the ascension waves, and we can only get so much information at a time. So there's certain things that they have to, bring forward. Like information I just got was that the 13 emerald crystal skulls, those were not Atlantean in origin. Those 13 crystal skulls, they were Venusian Mintakan construct systems that they deployed through certain areas that are considered Venusian superstructures, such as Kauai, Hawaii, and also Uluru in Australia, and also other areas like Montserrat and also the Tatra mountain ranges. And so there's preservation of those and taking the crystal skull commands and all the deception out of Atlantean controller bodies, which there's actually corrupted Melchizedek collectives on the planet right now that are basically hypnotized under these certain programs and things like this. They have to release a lot of hypnotizing spells and ideological psychotronic warfare over certain soul lines and things like this. And so they're trying to resurrect and restore basically the Vault of Orion. And the Vault of Orion plays a lot within the Orion Draco disclosure. And so I wanted to tell you about that, because that's very significant. We have to know what the key objectives have been that have been driving the Draco invasion in the first place. So basically, a lot of the war began and initiated over the Vault of Orion. And this was something I was seeing maybe like 3 years ago. I kept seeing a Vault of Orion that was buried in Germany. I kept getting like images or glimpses of it in multiple places in Germany. Some of it was around certain areas where, hit the Wellisburg Castle. There's another location where it was like Hitler's home. It's like an outpost where like the Egalians, they work with the Aquilin factions. there's remnants of the Vault of Orion there. There's also remnants of the Vault of Orion in the Black Forest. So there's something with Germany with this Vault of Orion. I think this goes back to, you know, the corruption of World War II and how there was so much Draco involvement during World War II, and how they essentially, the Dracos interfaces directly with Hitler, basically. And, you know, a lot of the Germanic factions. And so they wanted to covet the Vault of Orion. Because the Vault of Orion carried all of the original uncorrupted history of Earth. It had all the information about the Earth stargates, all of the guardian genetic lineages, and all of the archives that exist out of linear time. And the Vault of Orion is actually immune to AI mimicry. So they want this vault because they can't clone this vault. Or they can't do anything, like they can't do any historical revision, because it actually was designed to actually hold the Earth's Edenic template in place without ever being corrupted, basically. And that's another very key point in all of this as well. Again, collapsing down fear about Orion. Orion, the true Orion, like the true Mintakans, the true Guardian Alliance, the outposts in Orion, like they're not here to destroy Earth. They're here to give us information, to specific information about the Draco and what's going on with them, to save our planet, basically, from what's happened to their planet, because their whole sector has been destroyed, except for one area, which is in the Mintaka system. So, yeah, basically it's all about the Vault of Orion, and it's all about the kryptonite rock that the Draco has. So they have this rock in the Thuban system, the Draco Thuban dynasties. They carry a massive rock of dark worship that's designed to maintain their dominance, and they use it to feed on planetary life force currents, suppressing all of the Christos Sophia plasma flows on this planet. They can hijack it with this rock. So without that rock, they don't have any power. But I've talked about this before with you, right? I've come on and talked about how the first place that they attacked was Stargate 10, and they anchored, they basically displaced everything from Mount Hermon in the Holy Lands. And they worked and they displaced everything and moved all of the, you know, as much, you know, plasma that they could scoop out, and, you know, everything that they could do. And they basically relocated the central node of Stargate 10 to Abadan, Iran, which is one of the locations in the planetary Northern Cross, basically. So yeah, we have to kind of, you know, understand that without them trying to covet the Vault of Orion and the kryptonite rock, Draco would lose their power. They'll entirely lose their power. And they can't penetrate Mintaka, because Mintaka was protected by the Guardian Alliance, basically. And this is why headquarters is there, is because there was many Guardian, I want to say like Inquisitions, I don't know, this word's coming through, Inquisitions, that operated and worked with the Hydra system, which are considered the Seraphim soul lines, basically the Seras. They came in from outer solar passageway gateways and the Lyran councils and the Andromedan harmonic bridges, and basically they created a Mintaka seal. And the Mintaka seal then basically protected the Mintaka system, so the Dracos cannot invade the Mintaka system. But it's why the outer planets around Mintaka are like brutal wastelands. Brutal wastelands. Essentially, Alnilam and Alnitak, these were all once thriving cultures in the Orion system, and these were basically reduced to like scorched wastelands, lawless trade corridors, survival.
And this is all from the Draco, like they're just imposing their will on cultures, and that's what they're trying to do here. The Draco, basically, is what's, you know, is that, yeah,
right. They want to keep dominion over this planet. Yeah,
and
they want to keep it as a feeder planet.
Like, the Force Beater program is like, and then like the suppression through the Abrahamic religions is a huge part of it, right?
Right.
Also, something I wanted to ask you about was, I know we touched on this last time, is I think it's important, is like the astral farming centers, because it seems like that's where they're siphoning a lot of energy, you know?
Right. This is, we talked about this technology last time, like how they have these wormhole tethering devices, and they have like um they insert artificial dreamscapes, and the Draco are like they're like a very advanced, very ancient, dark soul collective that has like all of these like fourth dimensional weaponry. I wouldn't say their weaponry goes beyond the 4D, but they've mastered all weaponry within the 4D. So yeah, they've completely, hooked up the dream fields into the black hole system and empowering it there. And this is how they like can invade. And they can, capitalize off of the emotional distress and trauma in the dream space. They can initiate archontic attacks, soul possession, demonic soul possession. They can just torture people basically in the dream space, siphon their energy, and then make them susceptible to lower forms of weaponry in the 3D, basically.
I also wanted to ask you about the moon too, because I noticed when it was the Lionsgate, the 8/8 Lionsgate, we were going through a full moon too, and the moon was really close. And I noticed that the closer the moon got, the worse I felt. Like, I have some really good pictures on my phone I took of the moon. Like it seemed like it was very close, but it seemed like the closer it got, the more magnetic pull it had on me, and it was like really messing me up. Like there were days where I was just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not even going outside, because like people were becoming really aggressive and stuff like that, and like, it was like a whole thing, like it was it really, I think people underestimate. So what I was getting, so to come full circle on that, did the Draco use or any ETs, did they use the moon as a weapon? Like,
Yes, I'm getting like a big yes on that. That the reason why it's polarized, why there's like locking, like planetary locking lattices and technology in the moon, like the way why there's a dark side of the moon, that there's like a whole draconian outpost and encampment on the dark side of the moon. Basically, this is how one of the ways that they installed the feminine like implant harnesses on this planet, because we see this as women that we're carrying these harnesses, these force breeder harnesses, but really it's because the moon is hooked up to the Draco, force breeder systems, basically the implant devices and technology that they use, and then they can transmit artificial subliminal messages through it, basically to control the subconscious of humanity and lock us into like a force breeder, collapsed body essentially. Since the overtaking of Tiamat was the greatest last battle, right? This was Earth actually fighting to not be overtaken by the Dracos. I don't know if people, we talk about, the dismemberment of Tiamat's body. This was the war of Hydra and Draco. This was the last battle before Guardian Alliance actually had to be like born. That was when it was born, when it was put together. This is where all these different nations took alliances and contracts to come together and defend the planet because of what's happening in this sector of the galaxy. Yeah.
wow.
Oh, gosh, my sacral chakra feels so crazy saying that. It's like starts to hurt almost.
We know. I think you're touching on some really good stuff. It's really interesting. And guys, like, if you have any questions for Indy, put them in the chat. We can do like a Q&A too while we're doing this, because this is all really good information. I'm excited because it's interesting. But I mean, like, so do you like, would you see like a benevolent outcome here? Like, do you think that's why you've been contacted? Do you think that's what they're trying to say? And beyond that, do you believe? So this is two questions. Do you believe that other people are getting messages like you're getting too? Like, have you seen? Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think we're coming into a greater timeline of disclosure. Like I said, like you said, Ryushin's getting stuff, and it's always the crazy ones, right? It's always the ones where it's like they're a little out there. I mean, those are the ones that you might want to start paying attention to, because we're getting a lot of real contact right now.
I just want to say, people like, some people knock Ryushin, but like, I mean, because he believes in aliens and stuff, but like, so do I, you know what I mean? And so do you. I mean, and I don't see anything wrong with him. Like, I give that guy a lot of credit. He's uncovered a lot of evil stuff that's been going on with this planet. You know what I mean? Like, I look at Ryushin, where like, some mainstream like knock Ryushin, like, the ancient aliens, people don't want nothing to do with them because he's basically debunked some of their theories. But like I give him props, and I have him on my show all the time because I just think he's like, I think he's a solid dude. I really do. I don't
Well,
know.
I think he's ahead of his time. For those of us that are ahead of our time, people are just not ready for the information. Um, so many people are still dealing with all of the artificial overlays. They have Draco seals and J seals in their body. I mean, like 99.9% of the collective doesn't even know what that is.
Yeah,
And so people are carrying, basically this planet is booby trapped. You're born into a booby trap, and you're born into, carrying distortions that are inherited ancestrally. And so unless you've had some sort of reckoning, unless your carbon structure is basically broken, like your seals have broken, it's very difficult for people to even, be able to like access this or interpret, so yeah, no, I agree with you. Ryushin, I think he's just ahead of his time, and he's, deep into the wormhole of the information, and he's trying to bring forth, the true records. But again, I think it's also about, what are you aligned to, because there is a lot of interception in the field, especially when you're kind of working through the Draco and Orion fields. Basically, there's a lot there that it's kind of like, have you ever heard of the Agoris? They're like these really
no,
ancient
who that?
the Agoris are like these really ancient yogis, and they're like one of the most enlightened beings on the planet. These are people who like live till they're like 150, 200 years old on the planet. Like they're spiritual beings that serve in communities. I think probably in India and things like this. Um, they they are known for doing the most craziest things just to gain the experience and the wisdom. Like they'll throw themselves into fire just to learn how to heal from fire. They'll contract diseases just to learn how to heal those diseases, things like this. This is really actually what the expansion of consciousness is about, is by taking on things and living through the energy signature of that and the timeline of the experience to attain the wisdom, basically. So um, that kind of has to be what has to happen almost for someone to achieve this type of information in these records, to access future technology, to access and make contact with beings that are off planet. Like you have to be experimental with your body, with your light body, with your spirit, with your soul. Like you have to be like proactive in expansion and attainment. Otherwise you're not going to make it very far. You're going to be entrapped in the enslavement systems that are provided for you to serve under, and most of them are human farming systems. I mean, this is what they're already doing here. This is what the Draco came to do, is to farm humans, right? That's what the
Yeah,
astral technology is in the dreamscape, is to farm.
I
that's
mean,
that's what
and
Rigel is about.
they look at us as a food source too, right? I mean, it's, they look. I've heard that the reptilians look at our women as a sex source, and it's very bizarre and twisted too. Because I heard they eat us too. And the way they want to have sex with our women, but at the same time they want to eat us as well. It's like it's very insane. It's very like satanic.
Well, that's because the Draco was the first line to basically take covenants with the Antichrist. I mean,
Oh,
that's kind of what they did when they came to Earth, is they were the covenant with, I don't know if they were the covenant of the Antichrist, or if they were the first race to take a covenant with the Antichrist. Either way, that's what they uphold. So that's what they serve. They serve as many souls as they can feed into the Antichrist. I mean, and they can take as many prisoners as they want. They can take as many hostages as they want. We have prisoners from Earth in the Betelgeuse system right now. That's the only living organic intelligence or organic soul lines that are even in the Betelgeuse system as we speak. Um, Otherwise, it's just, you know, um, full scale cybernetic governance of autonomous war machines that are dominating the surface of those planets. Like Guardian Alliance can't even go into Rigel or the Betelgeuse system. They can't even go into it, because it's just like, any
It's a
organic
war
life.
zone.
Yeah, it's a war zone. Any organic life is existing permanently in exile. And I've been getting
So
this message for a really, really long time about the exile, and that exile will come to Earth at some point. I'm getting like the year of like 2400 when we go through like AI revolutions and things like this. That
wow.
certain organic lineages and certain organic lines, they'll have to go in exile to keep certain covenants sacred. Many of these tribes are being held in the Amazon right now. Like, these uncontacted tribes in the Amazon and things like this. Like,
Yeah.
these are soul lines that are being preserved for the coming of the seventh root race.
Wow.
That have no distortions, have no Draco seals, have no artificial overlays. They're not invaded by certain negative ET lines. Like, they're being held in the cradle of the Amazon. It is the place where the Earth's defensive forces are the strongest. It is considered a portion of the Illyrian womb gate. The Illyrian womb gate, which was the Venusian superstructure. This was the womb, basically, in which Earth was born from, and she contains fragments of that womb within her body now.
Is
That's what
that
Uru
why they're
is.
always trying to burn down the Amazon? You hear them. They say there's fires in the Amazon, and like do you think they're trying to infiltrate there a little bit?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. But this is why, like, you look at the Amazon. It's the Amazon River, right?
And think about this, like in the Amazon, I think that's where they found ayahuasca. They put together two amazing plants. One's like an MAOI inhibitor, and the other one does something else. But like when these two plants converge, they form ayahuasca, which is amazing. Which like, okay, sure, you purge from it, but it gives people amazing messages and like from spirit, and people get interdimensional contact, and like I just find that I've always found that fascinating because there's DMT, right? But then the fact that they were able to put these two plants together, like how did they know to put those together? You know what I mean? Like where did they get that sign to do that? And now people can have these experiences. And where's that at? It was in the Amazon. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
almost like they put that tool there for awakening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's all perfectly designed and how it should be. Like going, because the seventh root race is supposed to be born out of the Amazon. This is called the swaddling cloth. This is where like those races are being preserved, and this will be the emergence of the gold DNA. There will be golden DNA that will come, and it's going to neutralize all the bloodline wars on this planet. There's already like 50 different beings on the earth right now that already possess this gold DNA. The first one was found in an Australian Aboriginal in like 1961, but it's been here prior to that actually. But the emergence of the gold DNA will come from that. And then yeah, the experimentation of ayahuasca and also the anacondas in the Amazon River. That these anacondas are in, like, these are the defender forces, right, of the planet. So these are all microorganisms that exist within the Illyrian womb gate on the planet, basically, and is protecting and defending the emergence of the seventh root race. It's really wild. It's really wild. But yeah, you're spot on the money with this, Rob, with connecting ayahuasca into this, because yeah, that's the medicine. Exactly. And
Yeah.
also, you notice, like down in the Amazon, the force of the Kundalini is the strongest on the planet. Anywhere else that you can go, you will not have a Kundalini experience anywhere else like you will have in the Amazon. Like if you go and just like literally lay on the floor of the Amazon, you can actually control and conduct the life force energy of other beings in meditative and trance states. And you don't even have to go into a trance state to do it in the Amazon. It's so potent. I could sit here and just conduct my fingers like this, like over your body, Rob, and you'll just be like, I'll be controlling your Kundalini. It's that strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, the Amazon is the lungs of the earth also as well. So it's very connected to processing all of the grief on the planet and all of the destruction. And it's actually a place of deep grief. This is where all the grief is getting transmuted. A lot of these passageways are connected to Arkansas. They're connected to the Venus temples. They're connected to basically the Alacia flame, which is the eternal divine feminine mother flame that counterparts the Elion flame, which is what was initiated at the Temple Mount. That was what was there, and that's what was ultimately hijacked and, you know, taken over, and where the Antichrist covenants were made was when they tried to, like, you know, distort that and hijack the Melchizedek lines, basically, which were the original eternal priests that were on this planet. So yeah, this is like, all of this is connected to like our galactic ancient history, and it's very significant to know about the galactic history as much as possible to kind of have an understanding of why things are going where they are, why things are happening the way they are, why certain nations, races, beings, and species are communicating with us the way they are, why Trump was chosen at this time. You know, Trump is an ambassador from the Orion system. Trump is an ambassador from the Mintaka system. That's why he has multiple placements of Orion in his chart. You know, he was chosen to kind of forge the battlefield, so to speak, for the original angelic DNA templates and this Stargate recorrection. I mean, why do you think he's getting a Nobel Peace Prize at this time? And he stopped all of the wars. He stopped like 3 major wars, and the last big baby that he needs to work on is the Russian and Ukraine war. And
what about Israel and Gaza? He has to stop that too.
that one too. But he, you know, handled Israel and Iran. He handled India and Pakistan, and there was another one as well that they took care of. So once, you know, Israel and Gaza and Russia and Ukraine, then we're going to go into deeper layers of Stargate correction, basically.
Those are tied in together. Those wars are tied in together. There's a deeper, I think, Anunnaki overlay to those wars. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Yeah.
The Antichrist covenants, and well, that's the region where that whole region.
Well, listen to this. Yeah, Ryushin said, you know how people say, like they say, like, you know, that, like, you know, the United States backs Ukraine, but like Ryushin was saying that their logo for their Azamat battalion is the Black Suns. You know what I mean? So they're, you know, Ukraine's totally aligned with Draco. And I remember one time Putin saying that the world's leaders were reptilians. He said it. I tried telling Ryushin that the other day. I was like, do you remember when Putin said that? Putin came out and he was like, he was just all about it. He said, I mean, you guys can look it up. He said the world's leaders are reptilians. So I was like, man, Putin's down with the aliens. Like, he knows a little bit of something. So I don't, you know, and then I heard Putin and Trump met the other day in Australia. And I hope, even Matthew Morning says he did, though. Yeah, he did. Like, so, yeah, like he, you know, like, but they met the other day in Alaska, and I'm hoping they got stuff done, you know. I'm hopeful, you know. I don't know.
And what did he fly over when they met? A B-2 bomber, right? The B-2 bomber that they built off-world. They didn't build that B-2 bomber on this planet. That's all craft. That's all Orion craft, basically. And so, you know, that's how you know. Like, these are insider alliance deals that are happening. They're flying their craft literally over the meeting of these 2 leaders. I mean, that's insane. I mean, this is the disclosure for those that have eyes to see. You know, it's a matter of
Oh, by the way, listen to this. So I was watching Robert Earl White, or Robert. He goes by Robert Erassi on Facebook. You might be friends with him. He has a show. He has a channel on YouTube. Like, he didn't get taken down or anything. So he's still, but he took a little bit of a break. But he came back, and he's really into like the UFO disclosure side, like more like the nuts and bolts. But he approaches it from like a really cool angle. Like, it's not like real played out like some of these like UFO hearings and stuff. Like, he gets like really good footage of UFOs, and like, I was watching his show the other day, and he had multiple sightings of triangle crafts. And like, people were saying, is that a TR, you know, whatever, if it's a TR6 now, or I don't know. But like, people should go check out his channel. He has some really cool stuff, and he got a lot of triangle sightings, whether it was the reptilian, because I know the reptilians have black triangles, you know, that's why I was kind of going with that, you know. But I also know that we have, you know, the TR series, which is like the TR3B, the TR3C, and then the TR6 or whatever. So like, I don't know. It's really interesting. And he had like 3 different people who had triangle sightings, you know, which is, I find that fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah, well, this is one of the reasons why I've been remember how I messaged you last week and I said, "Do you wanna just get up and drive out to Area 51, like, right now?"
We should. We honestly should. You know,
Yes, yes, yes,
think
because we need
we
to go
should do it.
investigate. Yeah, we need to go investigate because it's not we actually should be making contact with some of these crafts because this is how we get disclosure. This is how we get information. Just the sound fields on the craft itself opens us up to information to bring it in. So yeah, we definitely we definitely should go. We should definitely go investigate that.
Yeah.
Um as as far as close as we can get to it, because it's off limits. You can't actually go out there. But
Well,
they
I
have
would
like the
absolutely.
whole ET highway going up there
Yeah,
that
there's like the little alien inn. You know, I listened to Art Bell back in the day. I've always wanted to like go there. And you know what's interesting is I had Jim Goodall on my show. He's like one of the old school like Area 51 guy, or you know, he's been researching Area 51. He knew Bob Lazar, and he knew, regardless of what everybody thinks about Bob Lazar, you know, like he knew him, and he knew like Sean David Morton who died, you know, and like they were all like, but like you know, Jim told me stories that like he would go out into like you know the field like close to Area 51, and he would wear certain kinds of like hip waders boots because he said when you were out in the desert like that you could get stung by scorpions, you know. But they would do this because they Bob Lazar knew when the government was going to fly their crafts, like the craft, whatever craft they had, you know, like
mm,
he knew like a schedule. And he said he saw it. He said when he went to that time, he said he saw like them flying UFOs. Like they have a schedule. It's insane.
you're smart, Rob. You're smart. That's what we need to do. We need to figure out when their flying schedules are and try to get out there at that time.
Yeah,
As close as we can get to it. Yeah.
we should organize another Storm Area 51 party, but like we're not actually storming Area 51. We could have a conference or like a meeting like right outside that area. You know what I mean? And like and have a you know because that was cool when they did that. They had that Storm Area 51 party or whatever it was. Like you
Yeah,
know, I
I heard
remember
about
everybody was
that.
talking about. Yeah, it was like a
But I
big
also
thing.
would want to be careful because, right, like, because we could actually get probably, in
Oh yeah,
trouble.
they'll gun
Yeah.
you down. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
play games there. You would have to do it like very off location. Like it would have to be like close to it, but not real close. You know, like somewhere like you know like plus like Skinwalker Ranch is out that way too. It's in the Uinta Basin. Like you know like I'd like to go on a trip, but I'd go out to Skinwalker Ranch, and I'm not. I think that's privately owned too, so you can't get too far on there. But you know, it's interesting to say the least because I had a woman that came on the other day, and she thinks that there's a Pleiadian craft under the ground at Skinwalker Ranch, but she also thinks there's a Pleiadian craft in the mount. There's a mountain there, and she thinks that's what's causing a lot of the weird shit to happen there.
Mm.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we should definitely get out there before the end of 2025.
Yeah,
I
there's a
would
lot
say
on the West
maybe
Coast.
let's wait until it gets a little bit cooler,
Yeah,
so it's not because that's in the desert, so we wouldn't be so hot. But yeah, I say we go. We definitely need to.
fall
Uh,
would be a good time, like you said,
yeah,
fall like around Halloween.
yep. Let's try to put it together. Road trip it.
We got to bring Missy. You know, Missy's awesome. I love Missy.
Yep, yep. We can do that. Let's road trip
Plus,
it.
she's like a paranormal historian. She knows like all the history and stuff. You know, she's
And she's got the
amazing.
night goggle visions as well, and we probably will
Oh
need those.
yeah, that's
Yep.
yeah. She does. That would be amazing. Holy shit! I
Everyone
mean,
in the chat, the comments is like, "Let's go, let's do it. We should organize something." Yeah, I'm totally in. Like I'm down,
well,
100%,
I mean,
100%.
I went. So the girl that said that in the chat, that's Coley from SNX Radio. We do a show together on Fridays. We so far we've interviewed James. I mean we've done shows in the past, me and her, but like this last Friday we interviewed two big guys. We interviewed James Gilliland, and then we interviewed Peter Maxwell Slattery, like two guys that have been in ufology for a long time. And Coley is getting to know James Gilliland really well, and we might try to have something out at the East Eddy Ranch, like if you want to, you know, be involved in that. Like I mean, she really want. I mean, I don't want to put words in. I don't want to say anything because I don't know for sure. But she's mentioned it to me, and like, you know, I think she's mentioned it to James. Like, you know, I hope I'm not saying too much here, but like, you know, I think that I've always wanted to go to the East Eddy Ranch because you know they get like real they get real UFO sightings there too. You know what I mean? Like that would be amazing to go out there and like, you know, it's like she says in the chat we're going, you know. So I mean, like I don't know, you know. I mean, like I would love to do that too. Go to ECETI because that's out that way too, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hey, you know what? I mean, if you have ins with all of this and you can organize dates and, you know, especially if we can get the flight schedules on certain things, like that would be really significant if we can coordinate it around that. So I think
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of research on our end, but we can get something together and make something happen. Sounds like you have a lot of connections there. So I might have to let you take the lead on that.
Well, it would be cool for us all to start doing more boots on the ground stuff anyway. It would be cool to do podcasts live from places and stuff like that, you know, instead of just being behind our computers. I mean, I know you do it. You've done it. You've done grid working missions. Like I was just talking in my podcast today about your because ASIC was in the chat, and I was like, yeah, ASIC went to Indy's grid work mission in Arkansas. Remember you went to Arkansas and the hot springs and stuff like that? Like you do stuff like that. You always do amazing stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing another one. I mean, I haven't put this up or anything yet. You know, it's not official, but I've been really getting the message that I need to do March 2026 in Uluru, Australia. So that might be the next one I do.
Man,
it's a little ways out. It's a little ways out, but I think that's going to be the next big one. Yeah.
You know, I know a girl who went to her. She comes on my show. Her name is Bobby Richardson. She's from Australia. I can connect you with her. She went to Uluru with David Icke. You know, she got chosen like one time. Like she said, like she got this premonition that she was going to go to Uluru, and then all of a sudden, someone from David Icke's team called her, and they contacted her, and she went to Uluru with David Icke. Like, and she talked about it before. It's amazing. That's a real spiritual place, Uluru. You know, like I would love to go there. Yeah. I'd love to go to Australia in general. The beaches are beautiful. You know. It would be amazing. And plus, I have a lot of people who watch my show from Australia for some reason. I'm sure you do too. It seems like we get a lot of people from Australia for whatever reason, you know, like, and they're the nicest people in the world. They really are, you know.
Yep. Gotta love our Aussies down under. They're, you know, they're just as awake as, you know, we are here in America. I think Canadians, the UK, it's coming around a lot more. I noticed recently. I feel like the UK has gone through a big spiritual awakening, particularly this year. Like they had like a huge, accelerative force of the King Arthur codes coming through.
Well, it seems like also we've talked about this too. Australia, Canada, and United Kingdom are also being invaded by Stargate 10 types. You know.
Right. Great. Good way to word that there. Yes. Yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening. So, yeah, I think, you know, they've been forced to kind of come to terms and come, you know, into this great reckoning, this great timeline that they're really having to revive all of the Archangel Michael codes and the St. Michael's Mount. There's a lot of activations at the St. Michael's Mount, and, you know, they're divine masculine codes are having to be restored, basically. So there's like a huge September 13th. I know like that Tommy Robinson, he's doing like a big freedom of speech. I don't know if it's like a protest or if it's just like a whole full day weekend event, but I think the leader of like Poland is going there to speak, and, you know, just like this whole rally for the patriots of the UK. So, I mean, I support that. And, you know, it tells you something about what's going on in your life, in your world, when the people that you follow are, you know, political prisoners. I mean, the people I follow are political prisoners, you know? And so, like, I think it's...
You know, I mentioned that Coley girl, she's going up against it with her local government. Like, and her friend, he got arrested. He's being, like, targeted, you know? And they're in, like, the Midwest. I don't want to say their location, but they're like... They're political. She has a friend who's a political prisoner, you know. And my friend Daryl was this January 6th. He was a January 6ther, you know, which is crazy because his mom was the CIA agent who verified Penny Bradley. Her name was Doris Neely, and then some crazy guy from the SSP set her house on fire. I know it's a crazy story. It goes so many different places, right? But it's like it's all true, like it's
Wow, wow. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
but
insane. You
Daryl's
should
an
definitely
amazing
have
guy.
that person on your channel though. You can interview them.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
J6er?
yeah. Yeah, I used to be on his radio network. He's amazing. His name's Daryl Neely, and he used to have when I first started podcasting, I was on his radio network. It's called the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. Then he got in trouble with it was like me, him, Penny Bradley, and then there was this kid. I was telling someone about him last night. His name was Miles Moonbases. I don't know what happened to him. He was amazing. Like he wasn't really into this stuff at all, and then he started like getting like amazing photos of the moon, and he saw that they were mining up there and they were doing all kinds of crazy shit, like and he just had he found an amazing camera, like not anything like real high tech. It was somehow he was able to like get a camera that was able to capture, sometimes people can do that, yeah, but he kind of disappeared off the scene. I don't know what happened to him. He had amazing pictures of the moon. So I agree that something's definitely going. It's interesting. All this stuff's interesting.
Yeah. We're definitely, yeah, I think we're, like you said, and like I said at the beginning, like we're in the time of disclosure. That we really are. Like this is the time where so much is being revealed and truths that we didn't have access to before. It's like the continuation of certain people who've come to serve under certain alliances. Like I think people are picking up the baton in certain ways and like continuing like certain disclosure movements and information, because it does have to continue to unfold. It can't just stop at one place or with one person. Everyone's, important part of the puzzle and the piece. And every little element that we bring forward is just helping us to decode more of what's there. And like I said, we can only get parts of it. We can only get bits and pieces of it and information, again, because like things that are being transmitted from other systems is coming in light pulse waves and through echo chambers and through all this different ways in which we're receiving it through our consciousness. And so I think a lot of people are, and I think another thing that's going to happen is I think the Galactic Federation is going to completely fall apart. I think that's going to happen over the next.
What do you think is up with them?
Well, I think the whole thing is like infiltrated by grays, right? I mean, yeah, I think that's just, it's going to continue to fall apart because the credibility has been lost. And I think people are seeing through all the distortions and all the delusion, and it's just going to continue to, I mean, people are like, I mean, you see Laura Eisenhower's post the other day, like, I mean, exposing Elena Denon for talking bad about Lisa Renee. And I mean, things are getting really wild. Things are getting really wild.
I didn't see that. I'm friends with Laura. I know she posts a lot on Substack. I follow her on Substack, and like, that's when you start to get into those galactic wars. Those people get angry and they'll come target the channel. So they not Laura, not Laura. Laura's a friend. I'm talking about the other people that you mentioned. Like her followers will come. Her followers will come and they'll get the channel taken down. I think. I don't know if they did, but I suspect maybe they had something to do with my first channel getting taken down. So I'm not saying anything bad about them. Like I'm just like, I'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that's the thing. Whoever you fear controls you. That should let us know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, on a greater level and what they serve, right? So if you're fearing someone or something, right, like they have power over you. I think a lot of that power is going to be dismantled because a lot of like this disclosure is going to prove a lot of that incorrect. And when people start to understand that those groups are interfacing with grays, I mean, that everyone who's interfacing with grays is following grays. I don't know how much more clear that could possibly be. So, I mean, I think that a lot of that disclosure is going to also come forward because a lot of this real information is going to start coming to the surface that's going to dissolve everything that's artificial and is not, of the good, that's not of the light. And those systems do have to fall apart because they're outdated and they're infiltrated. So in order for all of the Stargate corrections to happen and occur, the GF is going to be dismantled. It's already being dismantled. We're watching it play out in real time with all these wars, all these battles, all these people, you know, slamming each other publicly, all these things happening. This is their network. This is the core elements of the GF. But, you know, there's you know, they're connected to other things. Like they're connected to the MK Ultra programs. They're connected to the deep state. They're connected to the CIA. So it's like a tentacle. It's like a squid. It's like a Cthulhu. It's going to pop up another tentacle somewhere. They're going to plant another plant. They're going to put another person in. That's a plant, basically. That's going to have all this information. It's going to wow everybody with a sparkly halo around their crown chakra. And that will be the branch of the tentacle continuing trying to grow and keep the whole GF narrative alive, basically. So for every action, there's a reaction. For every attack, there's a counterattack. And so every time that, you know, certain groups come and put, you know, certain things there to correct it, then they branch out and they, like, you know, they spawn another child, basically. So that's kind of how it's functioning. And I think, but the way they work, their tactics, that's what's going to continue to shed light, and it's going to lose its following at some point, and it's going to lose its credibility. And you can only trick and smoke and mirror the collective for so long, because the consciousness shifts on the planet. You know, the whole elevation grows in one great leap sometimes. And so there's certain things that are a part of the organic evolution that the GF can't continue to smoke and mirror, basically. That's just what I think, you know, that's going to dissolve. That's going to dissolve at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Wow. Well, this was amazing. I was going to say, we've been going about an hour and 10 minutes. Is there anything else you want to cover before we finish up, or anything you want to?
I think I pretty much shared everything I needed to share. So no, this has been great. Thank you so much for having me on.
What's the update on the book? Like, when do you thinking you're going to have your book out?
That I am praying that it's going to happen no later than December 31st, 2025. Like, I feel like I have to get it out before the end of 2025. So, basically, I'm still working on it. I'm hopefully up until no later than October, and then I have to get it off to the publishers because they need, you know, a couple months with it as well. So the goal is by the end of 2025. Yeah. And it's going to be massive. It's massive. It's like over 1,000 pages. Everything that I've been speaking about on my channel and on your channel, you know, everything is going to be, all the information is going to be in the book. You know, pretty much covering galactic history, going all the way back to the Hydra Draco Wars, because that's my own personal account of things and how things have come about. And that's kind of how I've come to know all of this, is through my Hydra origins. So it's like through that lens and through that perspective, but it's also going to be bringing forth like the foundations of grid work, how to implement grid work, the methodology of grid work, and all of the New Earth prophecy and how that's occurring up until 12,000 CE as well. So, I mean, it's a very extensive historical timeline, and I'm going to be basically teaching everything that I know and putting it all out there. It's going to be full color pictures, like illustrations. It's going to be amazing. Like, it's so exciting. Like, I can't wait.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll have to try to plan that trip too, whether it's out to the West Coast or the East City, or, you know, like, I'm definitely down, you know, to do a trip. I'd like to do it with a bunch of people, you know, like
maybe we should do 11/11, Rob. 11/11.
Oh my God, that would be great. You know, if we could get like a group of people that would want to do, like that would be really cool. You know, between my audience and your audience, I bet you we could do like a gathering somewhere or something.
I think it could be really big. And I also think we should again, like, let's try to find those flight schedules.
Yeah.
Let's coordinate it around that as much as possible. And but I don't know, I'm getting 11/11. Like, I think that would be a very interesting time to go. 11/11 2025, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? And thanks. This was awesome.
Yeah. Looks like Jason put my YouTube channel up there, so thank you so much. Yeah, you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You can find me at indigoangel222.com. I do offer services, and you know, I have extensive interactive sessions and workings that I do with people. Everything from J seal removal, Draco seal removal, chakra clearings. I have sexual misery implant removal, planetary personal coordinate grid readings. I also do starseed origin readings. I also have courses as well. So if anyone wants to learn grid work from beginner to expert levels, I have 3 different courses that people can take as well. So yeah, I have quite the library of things people can choose from if they want to come and work with me. And if you want to take my courses, that is at learn.indigoangel222.com. And if you would like to attend any restorative or rehabilitative grid work missions, you can join at patreon.com/indigoangel.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Indy. It's always good seeing you. And yeah, well, I'll be in touch. And
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you,
everybody.
Rob. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.